it's about self-awareness, isn't it? It's like knowing how long it's going to take you, knowing how long you need to have a break. Because sometimes we're like, I'm just going to smash through it all in one evening. And actually, it takes you so much longer to do it because you're just emotionally drained, you know. Yeah, and it's really is about the reason that you're able to do that and not have that emotional load of it batting you in the back of the head is because you have self-efficacy in the fact that when that time comes that you are actually going to do it. You know, what we don't understand often is that not doing what we promise ourselves we're going to do is doing that to ourselves. You know, we're eroding our own trust and faith in our ability to set a goal or set you know, a timed or an activity that I'm going to do and actually follow through with it. And it's really taking work home mentally. So it's thinking over the list of things you've got to do. And, you know, in any profession or any part of your life, when we finish doing something, are we still emotionally attached to it? Is there still an emotional load because we're playing over it? When actually,
that's it. Like, I was a supervisor in a factory one time, and like, you know, on a Friday evening, I wasn't finished work. I was literally planning for Monday. Do you know what I mean? And all weekend, like, you're going over and over and over my head, like, the next plans for Monday. So you never really, especially when you're in a supervisor role or, you know, even a head teacher role or anything like that, you're constantly planning for it. And a normal teacher role as well. You're planning for that next lesson. You're planning for that Monday. You're never really finished work because you're continuously preparing for the next phase.
And we have to remember that reset is really important for us to show up as our best selves in front of the children or in front of the staff, whichever, you know, whatever job you're doing, in front of the customers. We need that reset. So we need to be able to leave work at work. Now, as a teacher, we do work at home as well, but we need to be mindful of, like, this is a reasonable amount of time. Because also, if you don't have a set amount of time that you're giving to something, that's when we can procrastinate, and that's when we can try and go for over perfection, you know, and then we don't have enough time to reset and be fresh enough for the next day.
That was me. I had an assignment due, and it wasn't due for 2 weeks. And I normally start my assignment on a Monday. That's my head's on it. And I don't procrastinate, I don't get too worried, I'm ready for it and I'm prepared. But because I had a new course coming up, this was last week, and I was like, right, maybe I'll get some of the assignment done on Thursday. And all this Thursday, I was just spiraling. I was going crazy. I was like so worried about this thing. And I was like, no, I was like, Jesus Christ, just stop. Give yourself Thursday and Friday, just rest. Get prepared for next week. But don't, you know, you've got your head set on Monday to do your assignment. But right now, it's the fact that you're worrying, you know, you're thinking about doing it today. I was really stressing about it. But when I just let it go, I was like, no, I'm going to do it Monday. And the minute I said that, all the stress disappeared. Because when you kind of designate that time, prepare yourself for that time, it is actually more calming. Whereas if you're trying to force it into a space where you're not ready to do it, then it can get really overwhelming.
Yeah, and it's important that we understand that when we have something that we have to do that we're putting off, perhaps, that it has an emotional load. Now, that's not to say that it's appropriate to do everything at the earliest opportunity. So, like, for you have the emotional load of knowing that this still needs doing, but you also need the reset to be able to do it in the best way. And so it's that self-awareness and knowing what you need and trusting your decision and batting it away. When it comes, batting it away, going, it's going to be fine, knowing it's going to be fine, that self-efficacy. When it comes to Monday, I'm going to know what to do. I'm going to be refreshed and I'm going to be able to do it.
And I got it done in the day, actually, as well, you know, because I was going to break it up into pieces and go, I'll do it Thursday, Friday, and Monday, like grand. And I was stressing. But then when I actually started to do it on Monday, I was so calm about it that I got the whole thing done in one sitting. Do you know what I mean? Which was really surprising for me. And I was stressing the week before that Monday wouldn't have been enough time. Whereas it just, well, once I was in that calm state, it just flowed. It just really just perfectly went into alignment because I was after doing the pre-rest in a sense, or just relaxing or preparing my own mind and body to be in that set phase for it.
Yeah, and I've helped people before who's had procrastination around, they had a support plan, which for teach, if you don't know, it's when they need that they're just giving them a little bit of extra support to be able to pass their probationary teacher year. So that you're a teacher for a couple of years, but you have to meet certain standards and you get more observations and things like that. And so she got this support plan, and then she felt the immense pressure, and so it was there in the background all the time. So she wasn't feeling good. She was feeling stressed and stressed and stressed. And then she kind of went into that freeze mode where she actually couldn't, she'd put the laptop on and not be able to do it. And in that kind of situation, it's like you need to just completely move away from it for a minute and reset. And then you need to do it at the earliest opportunity when you are reset, because otherwise what happens is then you're doing it in a high pressure situation because you've only got half a day left or 2 hours left to do all the work. So it's not a formula for everybody. It's about self-awareness, isn't it? It's like knowing how long it's going to take you, knowing how long you need to have a break. Because sometimes we're like, I'm just going to smash through it all in one evening. And actually it takes you so much longer to do it because you're just emotionally drained. You're mentally drained from doing it. And actually you probably do it in a lot less time if you had a sleep and did it a couple of hours one day, have a sleep, and come back to it fresh the next day. So it's playing around with that, isn't it? And
it's understanding exactly, know yourself. It's understand what you need. Like for me personally, I have to do it in my allotted times. If I have here, I'm going to do it Monday, or even simple thing of the in that room, I'm going to do that Thursday, or doing the garden, I'm doing that Friday morning, and I have that in my head that it's going to be done. But if I try and do it before my set time, it's like, oh my god, I'm so worried, I'm so stressed out. But when I just leave it and just go, that's the day I'm doing it, and that's when I'm going to do it, and then I do it. Like years ago, obviously, if I did that now, I probably would have been the opposite. I would have set the time and then skipped it. But like now I'm so dedicated. I'm like, don't overdo anything. Set your time, set your moment, and plan for that. And like as I said, like when I was trying to do it, on the wrong day for me, it was really stressing me out. And the minute I dropped it, I said, no, one day is the day, and that's it. And I was correct. Just be aware of what you need for yourself and your body, your mind.
Yeah, and it's really is about the reason that you're able to do that and not have that emotional load of it batting you in the back of the head is because you have self-efficacy in the fact that when that time comes that you are actually going to do it. Some people might push it back and push it back and push it back and push it back, and then it's just an emotional load. So it is knowing yourself, isn't it? And trusting yourself and keeping the promises that you make to yourself. We erode trust, and I can be terrible for this, promising that Monday's when I'm going to start eating healthy, and then it's Friday now and I haven't started yet, so next Monday, and you begin to erode trust in yourself. It's just like, if you had a friend who said they were going to show up for you on a certain time on a certain day, and then they cancelled last minute, or you went to meet them and they didn't turn up, and then next week they're like, actually, shall we meet again? And then they don't turn up again, and they don't turn up again. Like, you would completely lose any kind of trust in that person that they're ever going to show up. And what we don't understand often is that not doing what we promise ourselves we're going to do is doing that to ourselves. We're eroding our own trust and faith in our ability to set a goal or set a timed or an activity that I'm going to do and actually follow through with it. And it's really important, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It's important to be able to trust yourself and be disciplined with yourself, but being able to trust others as well as others.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Let's have a look. So taking work home mentally, we said, behavior management as well. So this is another one where we can sometimes compare ourselves to other classes, you know, other teachers. Their class is so calm, their books are so neat, you know, they've all got beautiful handwriting. And what we have to remember is that that moment when you walked in and everything was calm, you know, it might have just been a lucky moment, but also they are a different group of children. You know, there's different personalities you can take, and I've seen this happen. So we have a 2-form elementary school, so each year group has 2 classes, and the personalities in those classes, sometimes because one class will be really tricky and one will be quite calm, we mix the children around the next year. We're like, oh, that didn't work with that class, let's get some of those personalities out of there. And then you find that both calm down, maybe one's a little bit more less calm than it used to be, but they're both much more manageable. And that's because the children are different and their dynamics with each other are different. So we can't actually compare ourselves to another class, you know, our class to another class, because it's a completely different dynamic in there, isn't it?
So that is it. I mean, as you said, children have different personalities and they work well in different areas. And I remember, you know, we'd be in class and halfway through the year, you'd be moved to the other side of the class, you know, just to mix up the kids. Like, and I remember for the first half of the year, I was in this side of the class and I was quiet enough. Moved over to the other side with different kids. I came out of my shell, like, you know what I mean? So it is very important, your surroundings and stuff, and individuality as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So there's some examples of how overthinking can show up in school life, but overthinking can crop up in absolutely any aspect of your life: relationships with other people, with your family, friendships, you know, how you want the internal, you know, the decor of your house. It can be what job you want to do, where you want to go on holiday. It can be absolutely anything. And what happens is people often get into patterns of overthinking. So they're overthinking in multiple areas of their life. So some tools that can help us if we are going into that overthinking negative spiral. So what would be your top tip?
Me personally is meditation is 100% to calm the mind, and that's for a long term benefit. But in the moment is deep breathing. You know, and I've had to do that myself over the last couple of days because I've been going through my own kind of stuff and a little bit of overthinking. It's literally just stop for a second and just take a few deep breaths. You know, calm your mind in the moment. It's a really good and helpful way to just kind of pause those thoughts.
Yeah, absolutely. So all those kind of grounding techniques and mindful techniques in the moment. But what is also important is to have the tool in the moment, but also put something in your life that is, we would recommend meditation, that is going to reduce that over time anyway. So I had horrendous anxiety, and I'm not going to go into the full story, but I took up meditation to try and calm my mind because I was just constantly panicking, and it just cured my anxiety. You know, I was doing a 40-minute meditation every day, and well, it did far more than just cure my anxiety, I would say, but it certainly cured my anxiety, and it didn't take very long. I think I was 2 weeks to a month, and it was just like, wow, what's happened here? That voice is quietened down, you know. It's absolutely
amazing. Yeah. And another one you just reminded me of, when I was in a deep healing transition kind of space, I was anxious about money, I was anxious about my health and everything. I go into this constant spiral, and those in the moment affirmations, I'm safe, I'm healthy, and I'm protected. I just kept saying that over and over again. I'm safe, I'm healthy, I'm protected. That would get me to calm down a little bit. Or when I was spiraling about money, I'd write down just a kind of a gratitude list in the moment. It's like, thank you for the money to pay for this bill. Thank you for my money, you know, that I have, my money is protected, that I'm not going to go into debt or anything like that. But, you know, I'd write them down, like, you know, in the slides, thank you for this, thank you for this, thank you for this. And it would actually calm my mind in that moment. So there is many little ways of just getting it out of your system, that little bit of affirmation, those deep breathing moments, just to get yourself out of the spiral. And I've mentioned this before. I got this image of, that baseball machine where the baseball comes out of the machine and you hit the baseball. That's likened to a thought. So, if you miss the first one, they're just going to come fucking flying at you. So it's like with thoughts. If you have that first, negative thought, catch it head on, and remove it or replace it with a positive thought instead of waiting for all of them to come fucking hit you in the face. So it's really just important to catch it when it comes before it's fired.
Yeah, catch the first one and think, is it true? Isn't it?
Yes.
It's like,
is it true for the moment? Yeah, or is it based on something that happened in the past, a fear that happened in the past, or is it based on something that could never even happen anyway? Is it true in this moment, or am I creating this?
Yeah, absolutely. So what you can do in the moment is to pause. So you've noticed you've had your this thought that's not very helpful. Pause and label it as, oh, this is overthinking, or this is me triggered, or this isn't true, or debunking. Reframing it if you're able to. So it doesn't have to, if you're anxious about going to a staff meeting, for example, because it's on ICT and you don't feel like you're very good at computers and that, and then you're like, oh, and everyone else is going to know what to do and I'm not going to know what to do and I'm going to look stupid. Hold on, catch that, pause. That's a negative thought. That's the spiral starting. Reframe it. Well, I find ICT tricky, but I'm going to be learning, and people that already know will be able to help me. So it's not saying, oh, I'm amazing at ICT. I mean, you can do things like that in affirmations, can't you? But in those kinds of moments, reframing is much better, because it's like affirmations take a long time to really set. It feels false for quite a while, doesn't it? And then you start to believe it. Whereas in the moment, you need something that is more true than the bad thought. Yeah. And what is more true is that, you may find it difficult, but people are going to help you to get better. So you're going to be learning. I'm learning.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And especially for teachers teach people how to learn. You know what I mean? So we should be able to learn ourselves as well. And as a teacher, that anyone can learn anything if they have the right tools or environment or encouragement. So therefore, you can as well. You need to be teachable to teach, I suppose, or coachable to coach. I think Tanya mentioned that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's funny actually, because I always think it's funny that the amount of times that I've been to, you'll have like somebody come in from outside the school to deliver something on some aspect of teaching. We have regular professional development where we have staff meetings, and there might be some guest come in and they do the whole death by PowerPoint, but they're teaching you about how to engage children or something. And you're like, how ironic is this, that they're just putting a PowerPoint on and reading it to me about how I should engage the children? It's like, oh, yeah. So, yeah.
You reminded me of my course the other night. It's like, it was death by PowerPoint. Luckily the camera was off. I actually fell asleep.
It's good to be in that situation. It's that little reminder that actually when someone's just talking at you and showing you a really boring slide, it's really hard to stay on board with it as an adult. So yeah, sometimes it's good to be on the other side, isn't it? To also know what it feels like, because when you find something difficult, because when in primary school we're all pretty able to do the things that we're teaching the children, obviously, and sometimes we can forget how hard it is to learn some of that stuff. So it's good to be in that situation. Sometimes it's good to see it from the other side. That's like when we practice coaching, developing our coaching skills. It's as valuable to be the observer as it is to be the coach, as it is to be the person being coached. You just learn so much from all those perspectives, don't you? Yeah.